When I started the dirty sales tricks, there was always like, depending on how much buffering there was, like, when did that video start? So I started wiggling my eyebrows. And for you, it seems normal that I move my face so much. But when I look at videos for, I don't know, like getting a textly overlay over that, like, do I really move my face that much? But it seems so. Well, hello, warm welcome back. It's another round of Salesploration and another round of dirty sales tricks. If you didn't know, for weird reasons, don't follow Empathic Business or Feminist Economy on Instagram, you probably missed, you can still see it, my post on that I have a thing for skulls and I have a new sugar skull, different kind of version of a sugar skull. So what has my skull cup, mug, whatever you want to call it, and the sugar skull to do with today's episode of another round of dirty sales tricks, stuff you should freaking hell not do, prone to fall in trap, and on the bench of that, let's say from a 1 to 10, the mixture of all of these is certainly an 8 on the dirtiness of a dirty sales trick. So let's set out with what we're going to talk about today. Scale a little bit that because, like, let's be honest, we talk magic. Oh, big announcement. If you're German speaking, get on our challenge, Real Business Magic. That's the fun part where I'm talking about magic. Explain to you in the second. Also, in the second point on the agenda, 21st of September, we do a German Real Business Magic Challenge, 7 days. If you want to join, and I was asked that quite a lot and also commented on the videos, sweetheart, when does the English speaking stuff coming? We finally have a date, 1st of November, kind of mixed with Halloween also too. So it does mix kind of with theme. So 21st of September, starting our challenge, followed up by inspired action of 30 days. Feminist Economy Academy is open, and for all the English-speaking crowd, you can jump on board starting 1st of November. So out of that of the way, let's go with the theme of Real Business Magic and get you some insight on that. Because, fun fact, we named our challenge Real Business Magic. So what is selling by magic, manifestation, all that spiritual stuff? First of all, I'm not at all against that stuff. I would say I'm a deeply spiritual person. I've started Zen and deep meditation stuff over 20, okay, that's longer. 25 years ago? Okay, that's even longer. It doesn't matter. I always wasn't, and still I am too, in that stuff. Probably you cannot study math without acknowledging that you always have to figure out stuff to explain stuff. There is a kind of certain phenomenon, and you try to figure out a mathematical formula for that. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing that now today on the side of behavioral, but it's still kind of that thing that you have to have a certain degree, also a humbleness to understand that there are things bigger than you, that there are bigger stuff moving you. So it's not about bashing any kind of spiritual stuff. It's about that where it should not be, in it. And that's on the sell side. There are certain kind of stuff on the selling part, on the sales part, where in the last years, it's not a really new thing. It came back, so we switch a little bit time zones. Let's go back 1890 around. 1890, change of the century, there was starting what still today would be called New Age. That's so long ago, but it's still called New Age. So it was kind of that going out of using kind of the like Christian Catholic Church, moving away from that. So it started a new movement. All the self-help stuff and all the, if you ever read Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich and all that stuff, it started out 1890 around. And it moved till today. So what is also, that's kind of like sales always kind of captures the thing that makes people behavior change. Remember, sales is one of the most deepest and also kind of like hardworking processes of changing human behavior, because we don't know each other and then you give me money. That's kind of a big change. So from not knowing to you sent me money. So most people forget that. That's an extreme behavior change. And of course, there are certain kind of stuff which, at least for a short time, and that's always important to remember, if you use selling psychology, manipulation techniques, dirty sales tricks, remember, it always works short term and you have to keep up the momentum. Otherwise, people will start to think and will be probably very unhappy. So that's why you sometimes see the very amount of dirty sales tricks. So you have, that's why I'm always telling you, please don't go down the road of dirty sales tricks, because once you start it, you have to keep up the momentum always and always and always, because otherwise, even if your product is good, your client will be probably not be very happy with you if you use that dirty sales trick. So what is dirty sales tricks in magic, spiritual manifestation stuff? There's a certain kind of, and that's not only in this dirty sales trick, it's also another dirty sales tricks, but it's selling with the lie of easiness. Selling with the lie, it's working, gonna work that. If you buy my product, you will be renewed. You will be pretty, rich, intelligent, and that by easiness and overnight. So that's one big part of a magic sell. Because what is magic? Magic is that thing where you really don't know what happened now, and from one moment to the other moment, you're like, that's totally different. It doesn't matter if it's magic of love or it's kind of these magical moments where stuff changes. And yes, there is of course magic in nature and stuff like that, but it's that acceleration of using that change comes down from you and you don't have to work for it. I just said that sales is one of the biggest change management processes. And think about if you want to have a new you, or you want to get back to your old you because shit happened to you. It's a hard working process. It's a working process, and you will run into walls and walls again. So it's a hard working process. But what is told with a magic sale, that it's not the way to do it. It's easy peasy. It's a whiff. It's everything can change in a minute. But you have to buy the product, otherwise you don't get that minute. So that's one part of the magic part. The other part is, which we're kind of so accustomed that we don't even see it anymore, is the manifestation cell. So of course you can manifest things. Why? Because it's depending on what you see and where you focus on. If you focus on opportunities, you see opportunities. If you focus on bad stuff, you see bad stuff. It's always the same. Remember, you have these days where you wake up, wrong foot of the bed, it's just like a cats and rainy day, it's just like day. And the whole day is like that. On a retrospective view, nothing really happened in hindsight, but you started with the bad mood, your whole day was bad. So what have you changed was your attitude and your emotional well-being and not lashing out at other people. But in the manifestation cell, it told you that it's just that. You just have to do that in your mind. And you don't have to do the work. But with opportunities, if you see an opportunity and don't act on it, yeah, we all know what's going to happen. Nothing. Nothing. Literally nothing. You know the sentence like, he should just ring the doorbell. You know, the prince, charming. Yeah, at least he should probably know the freaking address. Because otherwise he's ringing a hell lot of doorbells. And probably not your doorbell. So even in that picture of like Prince Charming is ringing the doorbell or calling out of nowhere, he at least has to have a phone number or ring the doorbell. So in the magic manifestation cell, it's a worry, that's why I'm rating it an 8. It's using a lie and stopping with kind of very early in the process and not telling how the reality is. Because change always happens through acts. It's so what is used in the magic manifestation and spiritual cell is the lie about that you can change something just by your mind and not acting on it. That is very old. It's even older than our 80-90 thing, but it's still not true. We know behavior change just happens. You have to act. If you change your behavior changes. And your mind kind of plays catch up with that. So it's literally the other way around. It's not mind over matter. It's matter over mind. And people don't tell you that. And that's not true. There's another data sales tricks where you should show that you should invest in yourself. That's played with the matter over mind trick. And now a funny thing, you see how that all comes together? So you have a person who tells you just have to manifest it. It's matter, it's mind over matter. And in the second sentence, they're using the matter of a mind, because you now have to invest in yourself to show yourself and spirit that you really want to do it. Yeah, people sometimes assume I wouldn't know how to talk that way. So the second thing, second, I think we're down to fifth thing, Barbara, great, more coffee for you. So we have that magical thinking, it's very easy, it's very fast. We have the manifestation thing, mind over matter. Then sprinkled in another word with matter over mind, and then we have very specific wording. The wording in dirty sales tricks or general in sales is extremely important. What we teach and what we always tell you is use the words your client hears, use the language of your client. But there is another room of words and rhetorical stuff, which I would call and I'm not the only one curling in that way, that sounds like let me get a cup of which is called dark rhetoric. And sales psychology is rooted in a dark rhetorical theme. Remember, I'm German, so I have a deep aversion against dark rhetoric, because we have a very, two times to be honest, but one was even worse, dark history. And in their dark history, in the Nazi tomb, they used a hell lot of specific languages. And that languages traveled all around the world. Their techniques traveled all around the world about mass manipulation. And most people, if they're not raised in Germany, not even are aware that they probably attend a big crowd event, which is based on the design on the Third Reich. So if you want to know more about that and doesn't know, tell me, then I go probably a little bit more deep dive into that. Probably, I'm not quite sure, but we won't do that. Probably in the academy, so it's a closed content. So there are specific words, and words have a certain impact. There are studies on if you repeat stuff and if you just like the dirty sales trick that people always should say yes, it works. But remember, it always just works on a short term, and it works better if you do it on mass manipulation scale, because you need social pressure to work it at least a little bit longer. But that doesn't mean that there are not people out there that do that on a certain kind of degree with level with you. Because manipulating people is something we do. The best kind of way it would be, because we have our higher self or their higher good in mind. Think about raising your children. Sometimes a little bit manipulation and a little bit does help. But mostly we manipulate people out of power imbalance, out of stress, out of emotional charge, and just to lash out on them that. And that's kind of why the magical and the manifestation and spiritual self is so intense and so highly rated. Because it's using not only these techniques, it uses also a very special kind of language. So, and the funny thing is, after I did, because I'm always doing kind of the same topic on Tuesday German and Thursday in English, there was a question. You didn't name any kind of like examples, and I'm still not going to do that. Why? Because the language is, first of all, then I have to kind of bash colleagues by name, and I'm not going to do that. If I'm telling you, then I'm talking of a whole collective. I'm not going to do like that, you and you and you. That's not going to happen. And also, as soon as you hear that language, you want to replicate it, because at the first it feels like sometimes comfy, it feels challenging, it's kind of on point with the people. That's why I'm not giving you a specific example for magical wording stuff. You will find a hell lot of out there, because what is easy to understand is if you look for people who tell you it's easy, it's fast, and done like literally in like 3 days without doing anything, so no work on your side, they will use that magical language. They use that, and that's kind of why it's so mean. It's a language which really manipulates you on a high level. There, again, the manipulation will not hold forever, but combined with other dirty sales tricks, it's quite powerful. Why also? Because if you're in the spiritual room, if you have like walked down the road of personal development, everyone will be at a one point where you really think, is that all worth it? You will look back at your life and think like, damn, that was the wrong friends and probably the wrong relationship. So there will be always a point where you feel very alone and just want to be part of a group. And that group thing, being part of a group, you already know that it's one of the most powerful things people do in sales is give you the feeling of a tribe, put you into a tribe. In the mystical, spiritual world, that's even more part of it. As soon as you're part of a group, and they're doing that early on in the sales process, you cannot break out of it. So, and considering that personal development always has that point where you have to, like, you're on a fork in the road. Do I go left and stick with my old life, just for comfort and harmony, or do I move right and like go into that uncomfortable zone? And that's where all the magical selling points come. They want to sugarcoat the uncomfortableness. They want to tell you it's always kind of that easy. But let's be honest, if you do something new, it's never working out that way like you see it on a YouTube video and someone does it thousands of times. Nothing happens overnight except sleep, and sleep is a good thing, but you have to sleep many nights to be restored and refreshed. So it's of course bullshit. We know that. Our very analytical brain knows that. And that early sales trick of magic and manifestation and that spiritual self at the moment is going up on the rise again. Why? Because we're in stressful times. Depending on where you are, depending on which country you're watching that, you're probably in a worse situation, COVID, worse than we are in Germany. But even we have our weird problems with that because people are stressed out about it and doing weird stuff. Let's say you're in the US, you have my deepest feelings for you because like you not only have COVID, you have all the orange man, a divided country, Black Lives Matters, which is so important, but on the other side, it's just awful that it exists because like people get shooted with not, it doesn't matter. But so the thing is, the stress levels are through the roof. The higher the stress levels are, the more you tend as any kind of person, we tend to we want to have something which de-stresses us. We want to go the easy road. And we always tell our clients, if you in the process, give your clients a quick fix. But you cannot work quick fix over month and month and month. And the work has to be done. It's not an easy process, and especially not in times where the stress level already are so high. So that's why you're probably not even aware at the moment that the rise of that magical selling is extremely getting high. And the funny thing is, and now there's something very important, there are two groups who use magical manifestation selling techniques. Funny thing is, it's not the most, if you have a good spiritual teacher, they will tell you it's taking a long time and you will work your ass off. I remember my Zen master, it's like, that was kind of literally the third sentence I heard, like, yeah, that's going to be interesting and you will sit down there for 8 hours. Why? But that's the way to go. So the magical stuff is now much more used in the business world. It's much more used in a kind of where like coaching meets business coaching world. It's not so even hardly used in a deep spiritual personal development practice because everyone knows there is work to be done and it could take months, sometimes years, depending on where you are and what are your topics. So be aware and don't look at the word like, okay, they're selling magic. No, probably they're selling magic and don't use magical sales trick. That is not a go-to. But be aware that if you're now making buying decisions, take a step back, take them a little bit slower. Don't get into any kind of hype. Don't let yourself pressure in it. Because in that year, 2020, and now September 2020, and I'm still not sure, are we having September 2020? Or is it April 2020? Or is it probably April 21? Sometimes my timeline is all over scrambled. My brain is so confused with time at the moment. I'm very aware which date we have, the 3rd of September of 2020. But like my gut feeling is like, no, that's kind of wrong. And did I forget to, I'm never forgetting like reaching out to clients, but like on a private level, I'm not quite sure if I'm probably missed some communication here. So if you're friends and you didn't hear from me, please reach out to me. I've probably been confused. So And the thing about that, on that high stress level, we tend to go with sales tricks, or tend to sales tricks which seem it easy, and then we're afterwards totally irritated. So take your time, think about it, and make a good consuming decision, good buying decision. So that's our magical thinking manifestation stuff for today. We're gonna see each other, English speaking, again next Thursday, 9:30 a.m. Central European Time. You can rewatch that thing on Facebook, on YouTube, and mark down your calendar, 1st of November. And for the German speaking part, see you in the 21st hour challenge. Bye.